Yeah, let's get into it, I guess.
Cool.
Do you want to do you want to just do like a quick intro for people who don't know who you are?
Sure. I'm this dude LARPing on the internet as a neon gecko. My name is OnlyFuds. I am the marketing lead and strategist for Galactic Gecko Space Garage. I started working on the marketing side of things a little over a year ago. So one of the things that I don't know, people may know about our project, may not know about our project, but we are essentially a D-Rug. Geckos launched in September of 2021. Full on Solana summer bull market. Let's fucking go sort of scenario. Instantly like pumped really, really high. And one of the things that the original dev team did was they kept launching like little side projects and stuff, and they did it in a very short amount of time and made themselves a bunch of money, but really seemed to have no plans of really continuing a whole lot of development on geckos. So a number of the bigger kind of holders in geckos started to raise some objections to things that were going on, and eventually it was kind of discovered that the devs had no real purpose in keeping anything going. So what ended up happening was that our community ended up kind of taking over the project with a number of real leads in charge, both financially and in terms of kind of leadership. One of which being Genuine Articles or Pace, another being Trap, another being Trader Cause. Really helped us buy the project out from the original devs. There was a bit of a dark period there from, I would say, like late November, early December of 2021 until we finally were able to buy the full IP and everything for the project in February of 2022. So
Yeah, I
there's a
saw
little
the.
background on me and kind of a little bit about how I got involved in the project. It was really because there was an opportunity for members of the community to step up, and I have certain skills that in terms of, I was formerly an editor and writer for magazines and for the web and all that kind of stuff. So and worked in book publishing for a few years as well. So in terms of like writing and everything like that, it's kind of my strength. So I stepped up and said, hey, I'll help lead our marketing efforts.
Yeah, definitely. So I do have two questions on that, right?
Sure.
So one, how exactly does that buyout work, right? Because I know you guys, essentially the community bought out everything, right, from the original team, and now you guys are, I'm assuming, still in like the rebuilding phase. And I guess second question is like, is this like the first time that's ever happened in the NFT space? Are there other times where like the community has bought maybe the IP or the rights to an NFT collection?
So how it worked in our particular case is that through a lot of negotiations, we're talking months on end, um, to where it was pretty nasty, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like we saw, our floor price of our NFTs go all the way down to, from a high of in the 60s when Sol was, over $200 to like 2 Sol back in like December, January of 2021. And what ended up happening was that after a lot of negotiations, Genuine Articles, this is his handle on Twitter, he ended up fronting a significant chunk of money. I can't remember the exact figure, but I think it was, in the thousands of Sol. When Sol was much higher than it is now. And essentially through someone taking escrow, we bought he bought everything out from the original devs with a couple of clauses in place. One of which was that the original team would get a percentage of royalties for an entire year. So that sunsetted in March of this year. So we are officially we had a big kind of Gecko Independence Day celebration within our community, because now we are completely free of any sort of financial obligations to the original team. It's 100% ours. Now, is it the first time it's ever happened? I don't know for certain. I think if it's not the first and only, it's among them. I think you're seeing a similar thing go down in SMB lately, which was a similar situation. In fact, Genuine Articles actually offered to help fund that buyout as well. Ultimately, it ended up being Soul Big Brain, who's a big gecko holder himself. Has well over 100 geckos to his name, but ended up being Soul Big Brain, who ended up buying or helping buy SMB out for the community from the Hades or whatever, from HGE and all his stuff. So was it the first? I don't know, but it's among them. Is it probably the most successful? I would say in Solana unequivocally. If we basically went from those doldrums of two Sol back in January to this year eclipsing our previous all-time high from the original launch. So at a certain point this year, at least in terms of Sol value, no long-term gecko holder has been at a loss. And in terms of actual performance over the last year, between us and DGods, whether you go with USD value or with Sol value, either one, we've drastically outperformed the market. A lot of that has to do with our own personal vision of how NFT projects should be run and how communities should be fostered and grown, and also a number of aligned incentives. I mean, all of us who are participating actively every day within the project, leading the project to continue and to grow. We're all massively large bag holders that we believe in ourselves, we believe in our project, we believe in our community, we believe in our art, and we believe in the Solana NFT space in general.
Yeah, the thing with SMB is kind of funny how you guys were kind of in a similar situation, but it's it's kind of a red flag that SMB never really had a major dip, even though like all the controversy surrounding SMB. Uh, Another question. So since the original team for Galactic Geckos like essentially rug pulled,
Mm-hmm.
would there be any chance that they would have to face like legal consequences? Because like even though they got bought out, like is the chance of them facing any sort of legal consequences still on the table?
I think it's pretty low, to be honest. I don't know if that would ever really stand up in court. I'm no lawyer myself. I'm not sure that it would really like stand up in court. I think that there are much, the slow rug, even though it was a relatively fast slow rug, the slow rug is really hard to really define. I mean, they certainly overpromised and underdelivered by quite a bit, and then tried to go back to the community and raise, another, I think it was going to be another like $2 to $3 million to continue with a roadmap proposal that they had made. Once you've already squandered about $7,000 or $7 million by putting it into team pockets and not developing the project at all, you're going to lose a lot of trust from your community, especially when you try to do another raise.
Yep.
So, in terms of legalities, I don't know, but legally speaking, we do own fully the project, and we're going to continue to build on our IP and brand over time.
Do you guys still have the original artist, or is the artist different now?
No, so we have so Gossip Goblin was the original artist. He's still involved in the project. We are, currently in some negotiations about some future art and a future mint that for what's been known as the Fifth Faction. So a little bit about that. A lot of what we have tried to do since we took over the project is actually fulfill some of the promises that were made by the original team. And one of those promises was for a fifth faction. So a little bit of background there, if you don't know what that means. We have 4 different factions of geckos within our community. They are you can tell the difference between each faction by the background color of each NFT. So Targari is black, Barada is red, and so on. And so the idea, part of what was baked into our lore, was always that there was this mysterious fifth faction out there that eventually the geckos would find. And so one of the things that we want to do is hold true to our original lore while we continue to expand it. We've been releasing new lore for the last year or so that continues to tell both a backstory and into the future of the story of Galactic Geckos. So that's all to say that we are going to be having this fifth faction. There will be some sort of a mint component. A lot of the supply will be rewarded to long-term holders, and some supply we're talking about also having public. But yes, we've been we're in constant communication with our with Gossip Goblin. He actually drew our new roadmap that we just released for the next year or so of. We don't really call it a roadmap. We call it our Galactic Guide, but it's sort of like a look to what we're going to be focusing on over the future.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys have the original artist, because I personally love the art for Galactic Geckos. It kind of it gives me like like an adult network kind of vibe. Like I could like turn on the TV at 3 a.m. and I see these fucking creatures in a spaceship. Especially if you go to Galactic Geckos app, like those 2 geckos just chilling in the spaceship with their tails out of the back. Like, dude, this art is sick.
Yeah, so we so that the app is actually that's something that we as a team have built over the last year since we took over. So that entire app, whether it's our guide to like onboarding people into Web3 or onboarding people into our community itself, we've got a ton of background there. That's where we have our staking and our cred leaderboard. Cred is kind of like our way of accumulating, your spot in the community, so to speak. It kind of is our way of showing loyalty to the project. The more cred you have, the more loyalty you have to the project, and therefore the more we intend to reward you for sticking with us through this time. And yeah, Gossip did that awesome awesome spaceship version of the 2 geckos sitting in the cockpit with their special tail hole seats enabled and everything. Yeah, man, it's great. Listen, it's fun. It's one of the things about our art is I think it still remains very unique to this day, even though a ton of new projects have come out. It's no copy pasta here. Like, we're entirely an original project. Nothing else like it in the NFT space, in my opinion.
Yeah, the art is amazing. It's original, non-derivative art. Um, the thing, so obviously it's one of the you guys did mint in Solana Summer, so it is to me one of the original Solana NFT collections.
Yep.
Do you? I don't know if you. Yeah, I mean, I'll ask anyways. Do you consider Galactic Gecko a blue chip yet, or like, what are some NFT collections on Solana that you do consider to be blue chip collections?
Um, I think that if you take a look at the term blue chip as as it applies um,
Like stocks?
to stocks, you're talking about things that are in the top, you know, if you're talking about um, the S&P, you're talking about the top 500. If you're talking about Dow, talking 30, US 100, whichever number of projects you want, or in the stocks case, companies that you want to include in the upper echelon of um, of the entire space, then yes, I do. I mean, we are consistently within the top 10 by market cap. We are among the original Solana Summer OG projects that minted. We are we have battled our way back through a ton of adversity to be back up at the top. And so, yeah, I consider us as a blue chip in our field, and I think that both our price, our community maturity, and our stability and our recognition within the space um, is enough to warrant that. Now, do I think that we've had the price appreciation that we deserve? No, not quite. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that we are seen as a true community, a true product. Like what are you going to FUD about us, right? And so, in a way, um, that's a gift and a curse, because there's also a lot of projects that make it on or make it to a certain price appreciation level purely based on kind of sole influencer pump and dump kind of shit.
Yep.
And we do not have that. I think there's a lot of reasons why we don't have that. But mainly, I think it's because people don't see it as an opportunity to just like pump and dump on people's heads. Like, why would you want to do that to the strongest, one of the strongest teams that's earned our right to be where we are?
Yeah, I think the storyline is going to be great. Like a year or two from now, whenever, maybe not year two from now, but whenever we do enter another bull run, because there's not really many collections I have ever had like a legitimate rug and then recovered. Like I literally can't name any others that have anything similar. To me, like when I think of blue chip, I think of something like, uh, so like for Solana, like the first three I think about DJ Nape, right? They're like the first big like Solana NFT collection.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably throw Aurori in there as well. Aurori art is dope. They're building like this crazy game, like real utility. And then three, I would put in SMB. And even though to me, like there's so much negatives and like a lot of controversy, and I don't even really know what their utility is, but the community backing is so strong with Solana Monkey Business that I consider it a blue chip just based on that. And maybe those metrics aren't like the proper metrics on how to assess what a blue chip is. But
Well, I think
speaking of,
we're all figuring that out. Like
yeah,
we don't really
exactly.
know. Like that's why it's a discussion, right? Like, um, you know, and it's not that I disagree with those calls either, because those are all correct answers. Um, I think that um, the things that all three of those communities do have is unique. Well, okay,
Ah,
let's not call SMB art unique. However, uh, early, the right people, and instantly recognizable.
yep.
And on those levels, I mean, it's not like you're going to mistake a DAA for something else. It's not like you're going to mistake an SMB for anything else except for maybe a Nintendo game. and you're not going to mistake a Rory for anything else. You are not going to mistake a gecko for anything else. Like these are things that just on pure brand recognition alone, I think are an important thing to factor into, that discussion of what a blue chip would be.
Yeah. So, earlier I mentioned SMB's utility. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think is the utility for Galactic Geckos? Because I know I was on your site today reading through a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do have so I guess I can maybe just tie this in together. So,
Sure.
what is? I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. What is Matrica Labs? Like, what is Greenlisted? Like, what is?
Sure.
Like, I guess if you want to elaborate more on the utility that being part of the community provides.
Yeah. So one of the things that has always been true of geckos pre and post rug has been a huge trading community in terms of trading crypto. So like Pentoshi has geckos, like Trader Cause has tons of geckos, Cred has tons of geckos. It's like we have a huge community of like A-list traders. And so in terms of coin trading alpha, I think ours is probably second to none. I don't know of any other, like I'm not in any other communities that do a better job with that than we do. And that's been kind of part of our community from the get-go. Now, Greenlisted is an interesting thing to bring up because that is something that the Genuine Articles kind of started with some of his friends from the Web 2 world in order to bring an investment arm to the geckos. So one of the opportunities there is especially for accredited investors in the United States to get in on some kind of early round seed fund investing. With Matrica, if you're not familiar, I mean, Matrica pretty much provides, you know, uh, is pretty much the highest level of data that is available in Solana NFTs. Um, the amount of users using Matrica on a daily basis, I think, is over 300,000 wallets that are connected to their sites. And so we looked at investing in Matrica as just as an additional infrastructure play on Web3 and gives us kind of a certain level of access and insight to the NFT space in general. Now, in terms of real like actual utility, I think of things like of ability to invest in seed rounds and to make money trading coins and stuff like that as great utility. In terms of like giving money directly back to holders, that's not really something that we do, nor will we do. It's we want to stay on the right side of potential future compliance issues. We have not issued a liquid token for with a liquidity pool for people to dump into, because that's not really what we believe to be a sustainable future in NFTs. So our look is more towards potential for branding, whether that be on apparel or in a gaming type environment, or potential like media placements in the future. But I think that utility is one of those words that gets tossed around a little bit without a whole lot of real definition behind it as well. Again, that's something that we're all figuring out the same way as we're all figuring out, what a quote unquote blue chip is.
Yeah, exactly. The word utility is so up in the air. I mean, like Mad Lads just had their mint, and they openly said they have no utility. So it's like maybe people are just buying for the art. But I do agree with you where, like, just airdropping your like I guess quote I don't even want to call them investors, like your NFT holders is kind of like a silly like short term like hype type of quote unquote utility. I
It
do
is,
think, yeah, I think,
and it eventually fades. We
yeah,
see
exactly. What
it's
happens when the money
dilution to your
runs out?
project. What's
One,
up?
what happens? What happens when the money runs out? Or two, what happens when like these airdrops are worth nothing? And
Yep.
so much, it's just so short lived, and it's just such short term thinking. So, one question. So,
Sure.
the Galactic Gecko Space Garage Concordians, right? So
Hmm.
those have to do with the fifth faction of the lore, right? So if somebody bought one of those, do they have access to the private channels in the Discord, or do you have to buy an actual, like one of the original Galactic Geckos?
No, so okay, so what's funny is you just brought up airdropping tertiary collections for short-term hype, and that's essentially what Concordians were. Concordians and the Enigma crystals were two side collections that were dropped within the first like month and a half or so of the Gecko launch. So that's similar to
Were they
I
dropped
won't
by the were they my bad to cut you off. Were they dropped by the original team?
by the original team, correct? Yep.
Gotcha.
And they all pumped to to high prices for a short term as well. So, but that was never something that so we've been doing this on a volunteer basis. Our team, uh, with no mint funds, no, you know, airdrop bullshit. We've basically been doing everything that we've done has been for free to build value behind the Galactic Gecko Space Garage, the core collection. That's where our focus is as a team, and that's where we want outside focus to be. Now, we have in the past successfully onboarded some new holders of geckos, because when you buy a Concordian, you get to be in the holder chat of Discord, so you get to see how active our community is. Even right now in the deep bear, I go into other Discord chats and it's just like, oh, nobody's talked for like 8 hours. In
Yeah.
our Discord, I wake up and I have 1,200 messages because I was sleeping. So, one of the best things about having these little side collections, even though we didn't choose it, is it allows people to spend 25 bucks or whatever and come hang. But
So
no, in terms of alpha channels, whitelists, allocations that we get tons of, no, that's not part of that. Doesn't drive value to Gecko holders, so we're not doing that.
okay, that makes sense. I was because I saw they were only like one or two, like what's the floor price? 1.3 Solana. I'm like, that's not a bad price. So do I'm assuming a lot of Galactic Gecko holders aren't too bullish, I guess, on these Concordians. Like they're just, I guess they can just be a part of history.
Well, it's really, again, it's our focus is there's plenty of holders that are quite bullish on them, on Concordians, but that's really not our focus. Our focus is Geckos
I got
as
you.
a
Yeah,
team.
yeah. I'm
Like
thinking about it
people,
from
degen's gonna degen. You know what I mean? Like people are gonna
yeah.
speculate on stuff and they'll have fun with it, and we applaud that kind of stuff. But
It's
it's
kind of
it's
like
been made clear. Yeah.
I think about it from like a trading perspective too. It's kind of like how when like people were priced out of Ethereum, so people started buying Ethereum Classic, even though Ethereum Classic is fucking dead. So I
Right.
wonder if like Galactic Geckos shoots up to like 60 Sol or 70 Sol or 100 Sol, and then people see these Concordians that are also by Galactic Gecko Space Garage, and then since they're literally priced out, like you can't even. I mean, you can buy fractions, but like most people won't know how to do that. So I wonder if they buy these Concordians as a way to still have some sort of exposure to Galactic Geckos.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna speculate on stuff, by all means, please do. Um, the Enigma crystals will have some utility in the future. Reason I can say that with confidence is because that was promised by the original team, and we as holders have been, or we as the new team have been trying to do our best to honor those original promises that were made. The original team also said that Concordians would have no utility and they're just pets, and that's the way that we are treating that as well. Really, it's about honoring the reasons that we all, a lot of our holder group has been in this community from day one, and a lot of what we do has been to honor those original plans that were made, even though we didn't make them. So whereas, yeah, maybe it would be cool to like have something with Concordians or whatever, but that's not what the original plan was. And we find it to be a little bit more interesting to do new things with new things that we have created versus trying to do new things with somebody else's
Yeah, no, I get what you're
with
saying.
trying to whatever they had in mind with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it might be cool if they have like a little cameo or something where I I don't know, maybe later down the road you guys have like a different part of the lore, and then like in the background of the art you see a little Concordian like hanging out. And then people who know, they know what that is, and people that don't know, it's like they can figure it out later. I one question about, you said the word honoring a lot, so it made me think of the
Mhm.
honoraries. Have you post uh after the community bought the collection, did you guys issue any honorary NFTs, or was that all done by the previous team? Because I know Pentoshi has one.
So
I,
Pento has one. Tristan from Mad Lads has one. I mean, there's a ton of them. Gainsey has, like there's a ton of that OG trading community that have Moon Overlord, that have honoraries. The only two, and someone may have to correct me if I'm wrong, but the only two that I can specifically recall us issuing since we took over are the one that we gave to CoinGecko, which they used as their PFP for a little while. Again, that's highlighting our, trading alpha, our like trading style of community. And then the second one, we just released one for Soul Big Brain. I don't know if you saw that, but he rocked that as his PFP for about a week as well recently. You know, we made a purple gecko just for him with the Solana hat and all that
yeah,
kind of stuff. So those are the only two that I know of off the top of my head, but there could have been one more or something, but that's what I recall.
the old team issued an honorary for Sam, right, from FTX.
Yep. Yep.
I wonder. Did you guys?
Hindsight's 2020, my friend.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that I see it's on Magic Eden right now. So I'm assuming Sam. So you guys, I'm assuming you gave it to Sam, right, or somebody in FTX. So that means they
Uh,
ended up selling it, or was it just created and somebody else grabbed it?
that part I don't know. I mean, it was given to him, so
Well,
maybe there were mistakes made in a wallet that he controlled. I'm not sure. Something tells me there were.
this is so funny. I'm trying to see if there's any no data to display. I wonder if this is literally him selling it. That's so funny.
I mean, or maybe it's John. Maybe it's the lawyers liquidating all of the assets. I'm not sure.
They want 1,000 Solana for this shit,
Oh, right
which,
on.
which is
I think
hilarious.
Brett Harrison has one too.
Oh, that's the he left FTX now, right?
He
He's in.
he left before
I like
the
that.
fall.
He seems Brett Harrison seems like a pretty high integrity guy. I want to
Yeah,
say, I give
does
him the
seem that
benefit
way.
of out of anyone else involved with FTX. So
Yeah.
back to so I didn't know Galactic Geckos was like a trading community. I kind of wish I did, because I would have bought in a lot earlier. Because I feel like there's not really too much of that going around. Like bro, we are in like a meme coin season right now.
Yeah.
Random fucking meme coins are pumping. Like it's kind of gets me upset that I'm not in any of these alpha channels where people are talking about this shit. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming Galactic Geckos had some good calls around meme coin season, or even can contribute to the pump, I guess. Because I'm really mad I missed out on Guac. I'm like, bro, that shit ran Dupe and I,
Yeah.
obviously Pepe. I mean, we talked about it earlier before the podcast started. But fucking Elon just tweets a Pepe meme, and now this shit is up 65%.
Yep. The glory of low liquidity environments, right? You can pump things fast.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, we are, Trader CSK is another one. Archangel is another one whose calls are just like spot on. I mean, I used to trade a lot more than I have now because I like have a real job again, for the time being. But I used to hang out in those channels all the time, man, and we would just absolutely make mint money together. Yeah, our alpha channels are legit.
yeah, I might have to. I don't have a Galactic Gecko at the moment, so I mean, you probably aren't too familiar with my story. So I came in early 2020. That's when I got into crypto. Early 2021 is when I got into Solana NFTs. Soul Punks were the first ones I bought. And then bro, my overall crypto bag probably 10x, 15x, like crazy. And then I
Mm-hmm.
held it all the way back down to pretty much losing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I was like, I also graduated college in 2020. So I was like, you know what? Let me focus on like in real life stuff. Let's get like a real job, you know?
Uh-huh.
So the last year, I've pretty much just been focusing on that, just doing like grinding like the corporate like gig, I guess. So a month or
Mm-hmm.
two ago, probably 2 months now, I got back into the crypto space. And when I left, I pretty much liquidated everything. Like I had a bunch of like little like small like little small NFT collections I weren't worth much. Like I didn't have anything really. But now I'm back. Like I bought a few Aurorians. I just bought a Degen ape today. So
Uh-huh.
my next purchase probably will be a gecko because I want to check out these trading channels.
Yeah, let's go, man.
I also want to have like one of each, at least one of each, like original NFT collection.
Yeah.
So except for like I don't think I'll buy a Thugbirds though. That's probably one I'll avoid. But the DAA, Aurori, Galactic Geckos. I'll probably have to. I'm priced out of SMB. I don't think it's worth the price. But if I wasn't priced out, I'd probably buy that too. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like you think about Ethereum NFTs, right? You know, provenance has a lot to do with the value of CryptoPunks. And I think that being in some of these earliest collections that, that weren't rugs, right? Or other
yep.
than us, like holding a soul bear is worth dog shit, but, um, the ones that have stuck around, that do have staying power, that do have unique art and good communities, I think that lasts, man, and I think it actually just builds and builds and builds over time, as opposed to I think the strong ones build over time as opposed to gradually heading towards zero. I think that next phase of a bull run, provenance and established community, where we're welcoming in if you were class of 2020, when we welcome in class of 2024, um, in the next bull run, and need to educate people. I mean, that's what we've built our whole um, website and community around, is educating people on how not to get fucking wrecked, man. Like, there's so many communities out there that, I'm not going to name them, but like, where they're providing ways for you to just get wrecked all the time. And that's their business model. Their business model is you losing money so that they gain it. And our community has been built around, we are going to bootstrap this whole thing and make sure that nobody who's ever believed in us is ever going to lose fucking money. And in fact, you're going to make money with us. So we just have a different viewpoint of value, um, in NFTs, and we're sticking to our guns about it. And I think that having that sort of attitude is going to benefit us in the long run, because yes, there's tons of stuff in this sector that's very short lived. We don't aim to be that. We aim to be, a project with provenance and with a future that's long lived, and a community that hopefully will continue to grow and grow and grow over time, and we all better ourselves because of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with everything you said. I think provenance is super important, but I do think you still need to provide some utility to your holders. Like I hate fudding like Deej and Ape. Like I love their art. I love the community. I love everything about it. They're like the first big NFT that I purchased. But
Uh-huh.
I feel like they never like I'll see other collections pumping crazy and then DAA is kind of just stagnant. It always trades in this weird range of like 40 to 80 SOL. Like some other
Yeah.
collections can be up like 4x, and then DAA might only be up like 10%, 20%. And their art is beautiful, obviously have
Yeah.
insane provenance, but I feel like they've fumbled the bag a few times, like a few things that they like I talked about it with Bard Stocks on I think the first podcast I did actually, and like they launched a beer, literally like a beer that and it was just so shit. Like, it was so shitty. It was such a bad way to do it. Like they what's it called? White. I forgot the term. I think it's called like white wrap or something. Where
Oh, white
white
labeled.
label, white
Yeah.
label. Yeah, they white labeled beer. So it's like not even an original beer. It just has a fucking like their logo on it. So I thought that was poorly executed. They made merch. The merch was pretty good. I
Merch
think it
is
could have been.
solid. I
Yeah,
saw it at the. I don't own any, but I saw it at the Solana Spaces store that was that was shortly open here in New York City. Their merch is solid, dude.
I
It's
think the
it's very
merch.
well made.
I think it could be better though. Like I think it could be priced a little bit better. Like the DAA like red hoodie was like 70, $80, I think, and it was just very very simple. So it's like, dude, you like I know how much this shit costs, right? It's like it doesn't cost that much to make that kind of hoodie, like especially at that quality. So I feel like that could have been executed better as well. But we are
Yeah.
also in this like commercial like microwave era of fucking everything. So everything is done so quickly with poor quality. So it's kind of like they might have not known better. And to be honest, that might not even be a fair criticism because the merch is kind of dope and it is like sufficient quality. But I feel like they could have executed that a little better too.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's one of those things also that like, I I don't know what financial situation DAA is coming from in terms of it being able to produce stuff like that. Whereas D Gods just minted, um, $5 million by selling Bitcoin D Gods. I don't know when the last time DAA had any sort of like actual capital infusion. So it's it's another one of those things that like, I mean, shit, man. Even with $5 million, there's D Gods holders who are mad about the Ordinals hoodies that just came out too. So it's it's one of those things where like it's easy to be like, oh, we could have done better than that or whatever, or it should have been better until you actually try to do it.
yeah, yeah. No,
Because
I get what you're saying. Obviously,
yeah.
everything's easier said than done. But like the first thing about like the beer white labeling, it's like I have friends that do like that have beverage centers and do beer distribution, and I've had a friend that actually made his own IPA, and it
Hmm.
was like a crypto related IPA because we were both heavily into crypto. And it's really like if you're as big of a brand as DAA, I don't think it'd be that difficult to team up with a brewery and like go 50-50 on a design because obviously the brewery already has all the means of production, right?
Hmm.
Have some sort of split and just make an actual IPA that's actually sold in every store or at least in like IPAs is such a niche market. Like I personally know a lot of people that will go and buy a different IPA every single time they go to the store. Like they'll spend $20 on a 4 pack and they
Hmm.
try all of them. Like that, the market for that is so high. So like outside of crypto, outside of NFTs, outside of Web3, if a random dude goes in and sees like this cool ape on an IPA, they might be inclined to just try it, right? So
Yeah,
I
just
get,
based on yeah, just based on this brewery made it and it looks cool
Yeah,
And yeah, just
it
like the
doesn't
old
even.
fuck yeah, I'll give that a try.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with crypto at all. Like literally, just a random dude can go in there, be like, "Oh, this is the new IPA that just launched," and then they'll. Bro, the market is huge for that. So I feel like white labeling that is just fucking lazy. Like you could have had this. Imagine that's the one thing that turns like that has some sort of, I don't want to say mass adoption, but like brings mad attention to DAA. Something as simple as just executing that better. And then again, they might have not thought of it that way. They might have just thought like, let's just do like this quick thing that sounds cool to do, whatever, whatever. I don't really know what their thought process was on that. But
Yeah.
that's one of those things. I'm like, if you're gonna do something, you might as well execute to the highest quality that you can. Merch
Yeah,
is a different
do it
thing.
right or
They're
don't do it at all. Sort of
exactly.
idea. Yeah.
Like the merch is a little different. Like if I go into a store and I don't know about crypto and shit, and I see that ape and I see like the price, I don't think I'm buying it purely for the art. But like an IPA, it's like, dude, people try that shit all the time. They're gonna get drunk from the IPA. If they like the taste of the IPA, they'll keep buying it. Right? I feel
Right.
like that's a simple one. Um, we are
That's
getting close to an hour, so I'll ask one last question, I guess.
cool.
Um, so I guess it's going to be two questions, but it's really one. So,
Sure.
do you want to talk about, I guess, the future of Galactic Geckos? And to kind of expand on that question, I think the art is super dope, and I really want to see the art in some form of media, whether that's like a TV show or something. I don't know. I want to see the art being utilized outside of just like the website and Twitter, right? I want some sort of like, do you guys have any plans of using the media or yeah, using the art in any other form of media or any other, I guess, other future plans for Galactic Geckos that you want to discuss?
Sure. I mean, and this has actually been a long standing conversation that we've had, um, because that's one of the reasons why we've continued so heavily with releasing our lore, um, because we believe strongly that the gecko story is something that can be easily picked up by, whether it be Adult Swim, like you were saying earlier, where it's like a little bit more of a cheeky, adult oriented. I've always kind of thought about it being, or geckos themselves having a lot of personality when you see each gecko and its traits. And I've always kind of thought that, like an Archer-esque gecko style TV show would be hilarious. I think that that fits um, our community's like personality very well. Like cheeky, a little bit, a little bit degen, a little bit of a wise ass community, because we are, that's a fair assessment. We like to make jokes. We like to meme a ton. I don't know if you've seen. We've been putting out a ton of memes lately. We put out a bunch of like meme videos too. So, but yeah, I think that it's something that's definitely in our future. The more attention that we can grab, like in the marketplace, that'll bring more and more eyeballs to us. I think that as bigger brands start to, dip their toes a little bit more in the NFT space in general, and see the communities that already exist around NFTs themselves, I think that next wave of adoption will include some bigger hitters in the space getting involved and licensing some IP. And I think that both our storyline and our community, and the fact that like our traits don't have any sort of, there's no one like smoking a joint in our traits or anything like that. So it lends itself to development on a larger scale by more professional developers. And then what's in the future for us? I mean, we're fully focused right now on our animation station, which is going to be going live very shortly. That's going to be where we actually had artists hand animate all 162 traits that we have in our collection. and with your gecko, with staking, earning cred, you're going to be able to fully animate your geckos, which will be great for when Twitter finally releases their their animated PFPs. It's been something long rumored in the works by Elon for a while, or letting that functionality come back. And it's been something that we've spent a lot of time and resources on developing because we think it's going to be really cool. It's also going to stand out. Again, like I think that when you see geckos, they stand out no matter what. So an animated version of that's going to be even more. Our next focus is going to be that fifth faction and how the timing on that is undetermined at the moment. But what we don't want to do is release some sort of new thing into a market that's not ready for it yet. And by ready for it yet, not ready for, we are in what a lot of people would consider the kind of the bottom of the bear market. We want to make sure that when we do release a new product for us, it's going to be with plenty of fresh eyeballs on the scene, looking to get more involved in geckos and more involved in the NFT space in general. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that definitely answered the question. The animated PFPs is a great point. Another thing I want to mention is every Galactic Gecko, to me, kind of like if I just randomly saw a Galactic Gecko and you told me it was a one of one, I would kind of believe it. They all look like pretty unique, especially with 162 traits you said got animated.
Yeah, 162 all hand drawn traits, and yeah, that's one of the things. Is like this is not the way that Gossip was able to render these traits. Like nothing looks out of place. Everything looks like it was created exactly for that gecko, and I totally agree with you in that everything looks unique. One of the things we're currently having an internal battle within the community that we're calling Gecko Mania right now. So we had 150 plus entrants, I believe, of people who basically wanted to take their Grail geckos and put them up against every other Grail gecko in the community. And the community is voting on them right now. So there's some like serious discussion of traits and trait lore and, what's better, a clean X versus, more traits on Y. And it's just, it's been a fun little exercise to have. One of the things about our community in itself is that we are also, a lot of us are big one-of-one art supporters. I am myself, and a number of other guys in the community are John Lay collectors and yada, yada, yada. So, the art has always been a huge, huge focus for us. And I think it's been real fun to see people's reactions to, to try to decide like which is, the most aesthetic looking gecko in the entire community. So, sorry, that's kind of long winded, but it is really fun to be able to have so many unique aspects of geckos to compare back and forth and decide what you like. I always say at the end of every post that I make about Gecko Mania, I think that all geckos are grails, just some are more grails than others, and it's our job to decide that as collectors.
Yeah, I think personally, geckos that are stacked with traits look better than ones that are plain. I'm looking at a few now, and especially,
yeah, I'm a
yeah,
clean maxi man. I started collecting tons of 4 attribute geckos like real early on.
Think about this though. So, all right, let's say you have a clean gecko and it gets animated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you said 4 traits. Maybe those 4 traits get animated, but imagine you have how many traits do they go up to?
7.
So okay, so imagine you have a 7 trait gecko and all 7 traits are animated in some sort of way. Like
Mm-hmm.
like the one I'm looking at right now has the helmet the trait is called Viral Intruder, so it looks like
Yeah. Oh, I know
like
it. Yep.
like a cyborg spider kind of on your
Yep.
head. So I'm just imagine, and he also has what is that shit on his? Oh, the Rocketeer, the armor.
Oh
So
yeah, Rocketeers is a great animation.
yeah. So anybody listening,
We've leaked that one. It's a good one.
Oh, okay. Oh, did you leak it? Oh, I have to take a look at it. But this is Gecko 66 number 6622. I'm looking at. So
Okay.
I can already imagine like the spider on the top, like walking around.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see the animation, but I could see that rocket like shoot off and then come back
Yep.
into place. Shoot off, come back into
It
place.
launches. It launches.
Amazing, right? And then I can see like, bro. I personally, if it's gonna get animated, I want the most traits. I want the most going on. I want somebody to click on it and they have to like spend like 5 minutes on the picture to figure it out. But then again, I
Yeah.
guess if it's clean, you can kind of figure it out really quick. So that might be
Well, the
better.
other
I don't
thing
know.
to that, like, you know, I fell victim to it just as much as anybody else. When we first started talking about the animation station, like I said, I was a very heavy 4 attribute collector, like super clean maxi, and I went out and started buying up a bunch of 6, and 7 attribute geckos because I have the same view as you. Like I also want to see, you know, a fully animated gecko with a ton of shit going on, you know? So I think the clean geckos, the reason I started really buying clean geckos is that I wanted to use them for a brand or something at some point. You know, I wanted that IP. So I'm actually. It's funny you're talking about beer. I'm actually in discussions with a beer brewer here in New York City to create a beer, and I'm going to use a couple of my super clean geckos on the design because it fits in with their brand as well. And then I bought a bunch of, like I said, more attribute geckos because I want to use those to see what they look like animated.
That sounds amazing. What kind, if you want to talk about it, what kind of beer are you aiming to make? You're muted. If I can't hear you,
So,
you're a little
oh
bit.
shit!
I can hear you
Oh,
now.
was I muted? Somebody was calling me.
Oh yeah, you got muted right when I asked you if you want to expand on the beer or like what kind of beer you plan on making.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah. In fact, I just got an email from them. So yeah, so the company that I'm partnering with is uh, is a Danish brewery. I'll just go ahead and tell you. It's called Evil Twin Brewing Company. Um, they make a ton of different styles of beers. So what I want to do is so one of the aspects of quote unquote our lore is also some of the like community inside jokes. So they're during the original kind of like ruggy days, people were waiting on an announcement, and the joke or the devs were saying, you know, oh, it'll be ready in 30 minutes or so, and then it didn't come for like 2 weeks or something like that. So I want to do stuff like I want to dry hop the beer for 30 minutes or so. So I'm like trying to build in all these different little inside jokes into what we end up collaborating on. Um, and I just I want to create something completely unique, and this company makes some really, really, really unique beers. So I think it's a perfect fit, to be honest.
Yeah, that sounds great. That kind of reminds me of like Elon Musk with Boring Company. Like he'll just like create these random products just to like these that have like humor behind them. I would think it would be absolutely hilarious if you guys made a literal rug with the FTX Honorary and just sold those. How fucking funny would that be? Because one the original collection rug, and then obviously FTX is like this huge fucking. I guess we could call it a rug too, right?
It's a rug.
And then like people like that don't know about it. Like if they see the rug, they're just like, "Oh, cool, a fucking rug." But like anybody that knows about this shit, they're gonna be like, "Bro, that is hilarious." I think
Yeah,
little
we
stuff
should
like
look into
that.
that. Actually,
I think
there
little.
is that guy who makes those, right? You can get those. You can get NFTs created into rugs.
Yeah, I know a lot of tons of people on TikTok have that like rug making business now.
Yeah.
I think little stuff like that is so dope though. Like adding little I guess I always say the word cameo. It's not really a cameo. It's like an Easter egg. It's like
Yeah,
those
little
little
Easter eggs, little inside jokes, little little things that we say it's little, but it actually cements certain aspects of lore and a community. And inside jokes bring people together, man. Like that's why it's an inside joke, So no, I love the idea.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like Galactic Geckos is this big media brand or something. And then people are still making those jokes. Or imagine like
Yep.
that Adult Swim TV show does come and then like every episode there's like some inside joke that people that were around in 2020 or 2021 I mean, and obviously now they would be in on it. I love little shit like that. It adds so
Yeah.
much to the lore, adds so much to it adds so much substance to the community or so much to the collection where I feel like a lot of NFT collections are lacking substance.
I think you're 100% right on that one, man. 100%.
But yeah, we're a little over an hour. I
Okay.
don't want to take up too much of your time. Do you have any, I guess, closing remarks to end the podcast?
No, man. My real closing remarks would be just to say that this community, this brand, and the people leading it have tons of potential, and you haven't seen anywhere near the end. This is only the beginning. We are just now finally free of the previous team and that rug, and putting that behind us, and really focusing on developing what the next phase of ownership means, what the next phase of our community means, and what the next the next things to come from Galactic Geckos are going to be. So, all that being said, I want to say thank you for having me on. This was great. It was fun to chat, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, likewise, bro. Appreciate you coming on. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
All right, man. I'll see you. Thanks for hopping on.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Bye.